Hey everybody, it's King of Sin. And before you say it, yes, I fucking know I have not recorded anything in like a long time. Long story short, real life, bada bing bada boom, we're here. So with that being said, I'm glad to have all my failed abortions back and watching. And I am being helped out today with a good friend of mine, CT. CT, say hi to the nice people at home.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Unfortunately, I'm in the same boat as King. I haven't uploaded in a few months, but what's an upload schedule? Am I right?
Yeah, what's the fucking upload schedule? You know that thing that we both tried to enforce on each other but never actually fucking did. Anyways, I've
It'll
cussed
never happen.
enough in the first 1 minute of this, and I'm no, I don't have nearly enough people to be monetized, but at this point I would be demonetized. So let's cut it out just a little bit. Just a little bit. Today we are going to be tier listing every single Total War game. And before
I
you
honestly thought there was more.
Yeah, I did too. And before any of you ask, King, CT, have you idiots ever even played these games? Yes, yes, we have, and we've sunk an ungodly amount of hours in these games. More than I care to admit, personally.
I can proudly admit the with the unrecorded and unpublished hours that me and King have done, it's probably close to 1,000.
Only a thought.
It's
I have 1,000 hours in Rome 2 alone.
okay. Well, you're addicted to Rome too, and I think out of my favorites for here, it's probably either Napoleon or any of the Total War Warhammer series. Those were fucking amazing.
So my favorite's actually going to shock you at some point. But
I
enough
can't wait.
said. Let's jump right into it. We're going to start things off. We're not going in any specific order. It's just as this tier list is made, which I shamelessly stole, by the way. Uh,
Lazy ass
Shogun
motherfucker.
Total War. Shogun Total War. Let's start that one off.
I mean, for me personally, the entire Shogun series never really did it for me. It always felt like as a, if you will, a Japanese ripoff of the original Total War Empire. So for me, I'd say a solid C tier.
Yeah, for me personally, look, the graphics were not there yet, but this was early Total War still. This was still pretty early Total War. So they're obviously they weren't there yet on the whole. Oh, this is a mechanic we want to stay, or oh, this is a mechanic that we can keep. And personally, my favorite, the graphics at the time, absolutely atrocious, but they were running on early operating systems. Total War Shogun did have a nice gameplay feel, but that's kind of overshadowed by the bugs that it had starting out, which they did admittedly fix. They did fix a fair number of those bugs, but honestly, it's an early game. Not a lot of the early games can still hold up. For me, Shogun Total War is going to be a solid C tier. I'll agree with that. So let's move that one
Yeah.
to C. All right.
I never actually played Medieval Total War, so this one's up to you, King.
You've never played Medieval Total War?
Nope. I played the only other one on this list I haven't played is Pharaoh. All the other ones I played.
Nice. All right. Well, if that's the case, I'll take the lead here. Medieval Total War had a. Uh, it was nice. It was really nice because it expanded into a new era. Because most of the Total War series started off in an ancient time, like, Rome, the originator of it. You were playing as the Romans. But Medieval kind of took that and said, hey, let's move things along. The game needs to pick up now. And I like that. Now, it kept a good amount of the mechanics from the early Total Wars, but it fed off of a tested development company. And I like that. Is it B tier? No. Is it better than Shogun Total War? Yeah. I'll admit that. It's better than Shogun Total War. Alright. Next up is the OG itself, Rome Total War.
While I adore Rome to death, confidently, because Total War was still evolving at this point, ladies and gentlemen, let's put aside the nostalgia. I would put Rome at a solid A tier
Now,
because there's only two games on this list that take S and SS tier.
yeah, that's true. There are. And I will say this personally, Rome Total War is the entire reason I got into strategy games. It is the strategy game for me. I remember getting that game when it was on a hard disk, when it was a CD, and you had to have a freaking key that came inside the damn casing that you had to type in. I remember that. And that game is what booted my entire fascination with strategy games up. I love the fact that they allowed you to actually trade settlements and fight on a at the time high tech battleground with all the units there and actively shape the battle in real time. I like that. So for me, I'm thinking it's nostalgia aside, I'm thinking it's somewhere between S and A.
I'd put it in A. I'd put it top tier A, as it definitely holds a special place in my heart.
Yep, same. Top tier A. Next up, Medieval 2 Total War.
Medieval 2, I really don't have a lot of hours into the Medieval series in general, but I did pick this one up at one point. Played for a few hours. It was definitely showing the direction of Total War, and I think it holds up with maybe some of the titles like Empire, but I think it's just not as well known as something like the Empire series or the Rome series.
Right. I'll agree with that sentiment with the caveat of it was purely piggybacking off the fame of the first Medieval. It did introduce a set in stone direction.
I think it was hold on, real quick. I think Rome and Medieval were the first two games to have the siege map, right? The siege option, or did Shogun have that too?
I don't remember. Like I said, these games are so old and it's been so long since we played them.
Yeah, Medieval 2 came out in 06, and the only ones we've really recently played was Napoleon and Empire.
Right. I think it had... No. Medieval 2 absolutely had a siege map.
Yeah, it did. I'm looking at it right now. I think
did.
It was either Rome or Medieval 2 that introduced siege, or maybe it was Shogun. I'm not sure.
No, so you could fight siege battles on Rome Total War. I know that for a fact. I still boot up Rome Total War to this day.
I know you had that. I know Rome definitely had it, but I'm saying like the siege that we know today, I think is Medieval 2 has the most modern version of it, right?
2 in its step.
Because I've never Rome's mechanics of a siege really involve naval.
So, you're right.
And most modern ones don't have.
So believe it or not, Rome 2 is actually where a lot of the sieges kind of derived from, because that's kind of where they figured, we've really keyed this in. And believe me, I've got my problems with Rome 2. But their siege battles are not one of it. They knew what they did it right, and really? I have issues with Rome 2. I do. I have 1,000 hours in that game. It's my most played Total War series game, but I still have my issues with it.
I never had issues. I enjoyed Rome 2. But anyways, continue with Medieval 2.
Right. So Medieval 2, it definitely gave us a solid foundation on where the game series was going to go and how keyed in on making this series a good series they were. Now, they slip and fell occasionally, but I feel Medieval 2 was a good representation of what the series was meant to be. And with that being said, it did not outclass Medieval Total War for me.
I can't speak on that, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
But, put it where you feel. I don't have a personal idea.
So here's what I'm willing to do. Medieval 2 Total War was definitely better than Shogun, but it was not better than Medieval Total War. So to me, I'm gonna bump Medieval to B, and Medieval 2 can be the top place of C.
Okay, now here's where my heartstrings get involved.
Take it away. Go ahead. Run it how you need to run it. I'm right here with you.
I had always, because I was still young when this game came out, I I didn't think I got it. I got it a few years ago. Anyways, that's not the point. Empire Total War, like for King, this brought me into real-time strategy games, and it was so perfect. I have always been a huge fan of naval games, and having the ability to control your own fleets with famous ships like the HMS Victory at the lead and Empire was just like, what the hell? It was so cool, and this game still holds a great place in my heart. And I'll be honest, Empire and Napoleon, which let's be real, Napoleon is just a better copy of Empire with some new mechanics. Empire is it still holds up to this day as well as Napoleon.
Yeah, we still play it. We
Yeah,
haven't recorded
we have
content on it, but we actively play Total War and Napoleon, Empire
it's
and Napoleon.
it's an amazing time. It is an amazing time, and I honestly, if you haven't picked it up yet, go pick it up. Yeah, the graphics are a little dated, but for all the golden RTSs came out in that early period. Things like here's a shameless plug: Battle Stations, Pacific. All of you should pick that up. It's an amazing naval combat game.
Yeah, and I'll second him on that.
You
So
haven't even
I have played
played the
that game.
fucking. Oh, okay.
I have played
All
that
right.
game.
That's fair. That's fair.
So are you done with Empire?
I'm done. I'm done with my yapping
All right.
session.
So
I would put it up there though.
to me, Empire Total War was just a nice bridge in. It introduced firearms. Shogun, I think, kind of had it, but there's no firearms game like there's no strategy firearms based game like the Empire series of it. And it was just so good at how they did it too. The fact that they had this whole thing where you had to intimately research and occasionally steal technology from your neighbors and barter and trade technologies as well just made it so important for you to truly lock in your economy so you could just spam buy all the technology at once. And when you did that, there was nothing that could stand in your way. And to me, Empire was a really good keyed in product. It's not S or a double S tier, but I would definitely put it up there in the A tiers.
Oh my god, yeah. A tier was throw it up there.
I'm gonna put it
Um,
behind the original.
I would tie it with Rome. Honestly, I would tie it with Rome. I
Yeah,
think that's
I think that's fair. Next up,
now
Napoleon Total War.
Napoleon is. Let's all be honest. It runs on the same engine as Empire, and all it really did for me was introduce new units and new mechanics, and that made it a lot better. I'm pretty sure it had new maps, right?
Yeah, it did have new maps because it was totally based entirely on battling in Europe.
Yeah. Um, I'd say Napoleon is definitely up there with Empire. I dare say to put it in S tier, honestly. Um, because one, it was one of the first Total War games I played with Sin over here, and it's just a really good game, honestly. I thoroughly enjoy Napoleon, honestly. Same thing with Empire. I'd put it under A or S tier.
So for me personally, and you're not gonna like this, Napoleon completely and totally rid off the coattails of Empire. It was Empire. It rode off
Yeah,
the
it is
fan
Empire.
base of Empire. The only thing they added was a few new maps. They resized Europe and added some updated graphics, which is fine. If
And new
you can
units.
do
Yep,
that
but
and keep it interesting, which Napoleon did, you deserve praise. But I can't put it in S, where it honestly may deserve to be, simply because it took so much from Empire and only gave us new graphics and
and the mechanics,
and the
which does
mechanics,
mean something.
which it does mean something. So I'm willing to put that in A above Empire, maybe even above Total War, the original. But I just can't find myself putting it in S.
I would definitely, for me, I would have it in S, but I would definitely put it in A tier at the very minimum. It is a top tier game.
All right, you know what?
'Cause-
We'll
yeah,
put it at the top of A for now, and we may shuffle it to the bottom of S later.
not. Here's where I have issues. Shogun 2, I'm gonna be honest, and I don't know how other people will agree with me on this or disagree. Shogun 2 is a fucking dumpster fire for me. I never liked the game. There was just it felt like with especially the naval because I always look for naval in the game. One, it really didn't have a lot of that, and two, the way the land battles worked felt just bad. I didn't
Janky.
like it. Yeah, exactly. That's the word I'm looking for. It was bad. I didn't like it. Fucking dumpster fire for me.
So for me personally, I don't have as big of a problem with Shogun 2, but I can look. And this is coming from someone who has hundreds of hours in Shogun 2. I have hundreds of hours in all these games, but Shogun 2, I have all of the DLCs for. I have Rise of the Samurai, Fall of the Samurai, and the base game. I've played all of them. I've played all the factions. I've conquered the map. I do not struggle with this game at all. I know the mechanics forwards and backwards. And I can freely say that those mechanics aren't very well implemented. The units break in weird ways. Sometimes at the slightest drop of a hat, you can have a veteraned out unit that's just evaporated by for no seeming reason, honestly. And is it enough to make me hate the game? No, because like I said, I have so many hours in this, I know how to game it to where they won't. But for the average player just jumping in, especially with the Rise of the Samurai DLC, it's gonna be a lot for them to try and work around, and that's what drags it down. And I don't see it as a dumpster fire. I definitely see it as the bottom of D tier, which could potentially move to dumpster fire. But for me, it's a D. But I'm gonna give this one to Smokey. Not Smokey. I'm gonna give this one to CT because he'll probably kill me if I don't.
Uh, Now Rome 2. I definitely enjoyed Rome 2. It was an amazing game. I always loved the siege battles of it, ramming my ships onto the beach and deploying my troops, catapulting. Well, it was a great time. Rome 2, another one up there. Golden. I'd say A tier, maybe B, but it was up there. Never my favorite though. That belongs to either Napoleon or one of the Warhammer series.
So, remember earlier in the video where I said I have my problems with this game?
I can't wait to hear these.
Why did you take out the ability to trade settlements?
Okay, that's a fair point. I can agree with him
Do
on that. That
you understand border gore? And for someone with OCD, it's just one of the most painful things you can experience. I have had to go to war with nations that I honestly would not have expanded into had they not taken a single settlement that under normal situations in any other version of the game I simply could have traded for one of their settlements they needed.
I can tell you're very upset about that.
I was so excited when Rome 2 was announced. I bought this game immediately. As soon as it became available, I bought this game. And when I booted it up and started my first campaign, I took to it like a fish in water. I was so happy. And then I had to go to war with the Scythians or Roxolani or what the Roxolani because they came to Greece and took Macedon. Had they
Well,
not taken Macedon or Thessaloniki, I could have just ignored them completely, and they could have resided on the Danube for all I cared.
most of the negative reviews on Steam is actually about not being able to trade provinces, believe it or not.
Had they simply gave us Rome Total War with updated graphics like Napoleon did, I would have been so much more happy. But now Rome Total War got a remaster, and the remaster's just phenomenal, and all of you can go fuck yourselves. You're not taking me off that opinion.
Well, I'm gonna have to fight with you on this one because Rome 2 introduced some new mechanic, and the naval battles were definitely interesting.
I know.
Boring, but but interesting. And they were definitely better than whatever the fuck Rome had. I don't
Believe
even think
me,
Rome
I'm
had
not
naval.
contesting that this is in fact a good version, one of the best versions of the entire series. I'm just contesting the fact that it's perfect, which it is absolutely fucking not.
It's not. I would put it in either low A tier or high B tier. That's up to
Honestly,
you,
for
King.
all my gripes, I would give it high A to low S.
That's fair. It's up there, yeah. Now, Attila. I never played Attila. I'm not kidding.
Attila.
I played it, but it just again it
Don't
was
play it.
like
Don't play it.
yeah
Don't play it.
yeah
And not because it's a bad game. Don't play it because you will pull your hair out by the time you get to turn 50. Not because it's a bad game, but because if you play as either of the Roams, you're in for a hell of a ride.
nah, that's for real. It
You're
just
you're playing
Attila was
the Roams in this game. You have East Rome and West Rome, and West Rome is dying. You're not gonna. You can save it, but you're gonna lose a lot of territory stabilizing, and that's gonna be a lot of turns of you just sitting there auto resolving unwinnable battles or manually resolving unwinnable battles that just allow you to call the numbers a little bit, or you're going to be playing as East Rome and you're going to constantly be bashing your head against the never-ending horde of Sassanid troops as well as the Huns and all the fucking individual little migrating tribes.
that's fair. All right, I would stick it in B tier.
Yeah, honestly, B tier is a good spot for Attila.
Now here comes my favorite series. Let's just do all three.
I'm gonna go
Warhammers.
ahead and I'm gonna go, hold up. I'm gonna go ahead and just
I'm gonna have to disagree with you there, pal. Not kidding. Warhammer, the first one, amazing. For this was like the ultimate fucking fanboy crossover for me. Total War and Warhammer. It was like it replaced. We all know how bad Dawn of War 3 was. That was such a fucking letdown. Total War Warhammer 3, godsend. I love that game to death. I would put Warhammer 3 and 2 all deserve S and SS tier. Because Warhammer 3 is chef's kiss. I
right.
love the chaos section.
Right, and obviously we don't have to explain Warhammer because if you're watching this, you obviously know what these games are, and if you're
And if you're one of those, if you're one of those people who think that Total War should stray away from the fantasy titles, I see your point. However, I think you're wrong.
I see your point, and I raise you a fuck you. That's pretty much what you're saying.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
I was trying to be
you know
nice
that's
about it.
fair. No, don't no. So I'm gonna piggyback here off of his argument, and I'm gonna say, yeah, the fantasy aspect of the Total War series was a knockout. It was a home run. All the runners came in. It was a grand slam. It was an amazing series of three releases.
I got one of my boys who hates real-time strategy games, but he loves Warhammer.
Turn-based strategy.
Yeah, turn-based. Sorry, yeah. No. He likes turn-based. He hates real-time strategy.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
But and he never played an RTS. I got him to play Total Warhammer 3. That man has been addicted to this game since. He's probably has close to 2,000 hours on the fucking thing.
What?
But
Total War Hammer 3. Total War Warhammer
yeah,
3
three,
is an RT.
three.
Is not an RTS. It's a turn-based strategy. Real-time
It is an
strategy
RTS.
means everyone moves at the exact same time.
Warhammer 3 is an RTS. What are you talking about?
Oh shit, you're right. I'm thinking about 2.
What the fuck?
I'm
No,
I'm sorry.
okay.
I haven't
What
slept
do
in
you?
48 hours.
Hold on. Well, that's not my fault, is it? No, I'm kidding. No, all three of the Warhammer games are RTS. The only time it's turn-based is when you're in the campaign. But in an actual battle, it's RTS.
Yeah, but that's the same case for all of these games.
Yeah, but the real okay. In
They're
general, considered
they're
real-time
all
strategy.
RTS and all turn-based strategy at the exact
Yeah.
same time. But like I said, I've been up 48 hours.
Yeah, well, I know. Anyways, but like I said, it is. I don't know why people have issues with this game. I think it's fucking great. Warhammer 2 got me into the Warhammer series. And I went back and played the original. I think Warhammer 3 is just mwah. Now, what I'd love for Total War to do is go ahead and make a World War 2 Total Wars things. I think that would sell like fucking hotcakes.
So believe it or not, I would rather see Medieval 3. I want those updated graphics.
I'd rather just have a remastered Medieval 2.
That's fair. But a lot of people have been waiting for Medieval 3.
I could see that, but I think it would benefit Total War
To move the
to
genre along.
move the timeline forward, if you will.
Right. But anyway, so like I said, I completely agree with him. These were just knockouts. They're really good. I highly recommend anyone who's looking to get into Total War, maybe not start with Warhammer 3 and 2. Maybe start with regular Warhammer. Get a feel for the story. Should be cheaper than the other two. And you'll probably enjoy it if you like RTS / turn-based strategy games.
Warhammer 3 is on sale right now for $30, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to the Steam Summer Sale. I fucking love this month.
Right. So I'm gonna put Warhammer 2 in S and Warhammer 3 up here in double S. Or do you want to reverse that?
No, that's fine with me. I think 3 should be an SS tier.
All right, we've got one more decent game, ladies and gentlemen, and then we move on to the bottom rung.
3 Kingdoms, solid game. Not my favorite. I'd say bottom of A tier, high B. That's my complete comment because I maybe have less than 50 hours in it.
So, believe it or not, 3 Kingdoms is the only Total War game in which I have less than 100 hours in.
Well, that goes for both of us.
That one actually goes for both of us. I didn't actually see 3 Kingdoms on here, and honestly I forgot about it when I was talking earlier.
I have 35 hours in that game. That's it. Jesus.
So
compare that to Napoleon.
3 Kingdoms was kind of interesting for a bit. It's not bad. It's a fun game. It's definitely easy to jump into and understand. I like the fact that they have a romanticized mode and a historical mode. And if you don't know what that means, in romanticized mode, that means the generals are depicted as they are in legends, and in realistic mode, they're actually led by a bodyguard unit and not just themselves. That was pretty cool. And with that being said, I'm content with putting it somewhere along the lines of B and C.
I'm fine with that. Do high B for me.
High B.
That's where I put it.
You want Yeah, it was better than It was better than Medieval.
Yeah, I guess. Okay. Now, here's where we hit 3 shit games. All of them suck. 2 of them I didn't play. Because, well, shout out to my old history teacher. He told me how bad Troy was.
So I've actually played all 3 of these, except for Pharaoh. I played 2 of these except for Pharaoh. I have not had a chance to jump in Pharaoh. Pharaoh is the newest edition for anyone out there who doesn't know the chronological order. Pharaoh is the newest edition, but it takes place, I think, the farthest in time back. And
yeah, it's ancient Egypt, and I'm looking at the reviews for it.
It's bad.
Oh shit, it's bad.
I have not played it, but I have seen footage of it, which honestly is not enough to have an opinion on it, but I know just from seeing it, it's going to be a dumpster fire.
From the quick 5 minutes that I've looked at this thing, the only credit I'll give this thing are the graphics. It is definitely the most beautiful Total War game so far. It's definitely up there with Warhammer 3 in terms of graphics.
Right. So Troy wasn't the greatest, but honestly, it was kind of nice. It was good to see a Total War take an in-depth interest in Greece and not just have it be a small portion of the map.
Wasn't it completely based off legends, though?
Yeah, it was. It absolutely was. It was set during the Trojan War, which was Bronze Age era.
Fictional.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, surprisingly, it's got mostly positive, actually.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was nice. You could trade resources and pray to deities and get rewards from those specific deities.
So, someone said it is flawed to say that this is a computer game. It is closer to being a mobile game. What the fuck?
I can agree with that. So for me personally, Troy, there's not much to say good, but there's also not much bad to say. I mean, there's some good and bad. It deserves a spot in the D tier.
Now, from what I've heard, Britannia was fucking garbage.
I
I
played
will.
it, and I will freely state that game is
I
absolutely a dumpster fire. It's so
I
bad. It is so bad. I'm bumping Shogun 2 up to put it in dumpster
Yeah,
fire.
that's fair. Britannia, fucking. I saw the naval battles for it, and I was just like, what the fuck, total. And I looked at the land battles because, like, all right, maybe not every game has to have naval battles to be good. How wrong I was. I'm gonna be real. Creative Assembly, the makers of Total War, they have one good series right now that came out within the last 4 years. I mean 2 years. It's Warhammer and I guess maybe Rome 2, but that's even farther back. That's back in the 2013s.
Yeah.
I mean, because the last two games, Troy, Pharaoh, kind of shit. Same with Britannia, also kind of shit.
It's embarrassing to be able to say that Troy beats you out in the series.
Oh my god, we all thought that Troy was gonna be fucking horrible. Now I'm gonna be real. Um, they have Creative Assembly has such a good fan base even after pulling an Activision here and giving us a couple shit games in a row that they can make a comeback, but they need either a medieval remaster, not a Rome 3 because I don't know how that would work out,
So,
or a remaster of either Empire, Napoleon, or medieval, or a completely new timeline closer to modern era. Maybe a Dreadnought.
believe it or not, for all the bad that's in this absolute dumpster fire of a game, I did like two things about Britannia.
Oh, here we go.
I did
No.
like the fact that raising an army actually took up food resources. And keeping them raised took up food resources.
I'm pretty sure some of the other games did that. No.
No, they didn't.
Huh.
Not in the way Britannia did it. I also like the fact that you recruit your units, and then when you upgrade them, it's basically they're just getting armor and slightly better weapons. It's actually it's pretty nice. And the final thing I liked about this game is the fact that it actually did in any game, a barrage of javelins to the back is gonna be decimated. It's gonna decimate a unit. But Britannia really drilled home that archers and javelin men were the way to go. But
Well, it's
beyond
almost
those,
like a giant fucking spear in your back will kill you.
yeah,
Who would have
yeah,
thought?
who'd have thunk it? It's something that some of these other games that we've listed higher didn't do too good of a job depicting, but everything else made that be an insignificant part of it. But with that being said, those three things absolutely do not drag it anywhere even remotely close to D tier. It's a complete dumpster fire.
Yeah. Well, and then Pharaoh. Neither of us played it.
Neither of us played it. Neither of us are gonna fucking play it because it's a waste of money. And based on the reviews we've read and based on what we've seen from the people who have played it, it's a dumpster fire.
Well, that was a pretty quick list, and I think I'm gonna go pick up Warhammer 3 again, so me and you can play that.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice.
I'm gonna be real. So I think this is a fair tier list. If you disagree, in the words of a very wise man,
Go fuck yourself.
Fuck yourself. Hey, you know what I was just saying.
Yeah, of course I do.
That's
I
why
know
he's my
you.
friend.
All right, now with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, and let's be honest, most of you people that are watching me are probably guys. Just remember this: spitters or quitters. That's it. I'll see you later.